Namaste. So, we are reading about fate and how it operates. So, everybody in life has to go through their own measure of high and low, rise and fall. This is the way life operates. So, one thing we learn from the ocean is from everything in life. Ocean, the waves rise and fall. But which way they go? There's only one way, the way the ocean is impelling them. Through the rise and the fall, they are yet moving forward. That's the current and impulsion. That is the teaching of Vedanta. That through everything, there is a tremendous impulsion in life to take us towards the divine. And it works through the rise and it works through the fall. Similarly, we see day and night. So every day is followed by night, every night is followed by day. But what is happening? That time is moving forward. There is nothing like a backward motion in life. It's something very interesting. For a backward moment, what is required is the entire clock the time itself has to be reabsorbed and reset. That's what pralaya is. Otherwise, in life, there is a constant forward motion. So, this idea of retrogression that you go back and then you start again is even not sustained by what we observe in life and creation. Even when we go through the bitterest experience, we still move forward. So, there is only one way forward, ever forward, as the mother says. At the end of the tunnel, there is light. At the end of the struggle, there is victory. So, then, during the struggle, during the tunnel, when we are going through, are we going alone? Here again, in this passage, that the divine never abandons us. When it is dark, we may not be able to perceive Him, we may not be able to understand His working, yet the divine never abandons us. This is the faith we must always keep, that we are never abandoned. And so beautifully He brings out, we are never abandoned, may apply in a very ultimate way. That okay, He is there, He is watching over us. No, He flows with us in the current of time. He is not only with us when we are sitting quietly in meditation, but in all the ups and downs of life, the divine is there. And its evidence is very, people often ask, of course we have lovely stories that of the footprints when somebody sees two set of footprints, when everything is nice. But during crisis sees one set of footprints. And he asks God, where were you? He says, see carefully, they are my footprints. I was carrying you in the lap. But this may sound like an emotional, But if you really look at life, so many times we go through so many crises. It doesn't matter whether we believe in God or don't believe in God. Of course, when we believe, it becomes so much easier and faster. But ultimately, it is absorbed. Who absorbs it? When you are going through the crisis, it looks like an impossible situation. But all the pain, the sadness, the bitterness, something absorbs from inside. Who is absorbing? In us too, Shiva wrestles with the world's grief. His halahal, scene is not over. It continues. Whatever grief that generates through the manthan of human consciousness, he drinks it. In us too, Krishna seeks for love and joy. So after he has drunk the poison, then Krishna comes. Let's have. That's why he lures us and then leaves us to weeping again. That's his game. So he will lure us to the next step. Then again, life is beautiful, wonderful. All that is behind us and we have forgotten. Then again, halahal comes. And then again, Shiva enters. He says, okay, this is my field. He liberates us from that. Then again, Krishna, forward march of mankind. So this is how the game goes on. So this is beautifully conveyed, these magical words. One who has shaped this world is ever its Lord. Again the same thought, we are not abandoned. He never leaves us. He doesn't govern us in absentio. One who has shaped this world is ever its Lord. Our errors are His steps upon the way. The child who falls, tomorrow will run. A child who has never fallen is a paralyzed child. So what we call as errors in our human, at one place, Yovinda says, what is waste? You say waste. But what is waste? In nature, there is no waste. It uses everything for some purpose or the other. Either to awaken us, to recycle, things like that. It awakens us. Everything has its own place and utility. So, one who has shaped this world is ever its Lord. Our errors are His steps upon the way. He works through the fierce vicissitudes of our lives. He works through the hard breath of battle and toil. When is Krishna nearest? In the entire, if you see the Mahabharata, the whole story, the Bhagavatam, when is Krishna nearest? It is with Arjuna on the battlefield. Nowhere else you'll find. With Gop and Gopis, there is Vira and there is Milan. There is Ulahana and then they are placated. But with Arjuna, Shri Krishna never even for a moment, what a sleepless vigil he keeps upon him. So he works through the hard breath of battle and toil. He works through our sins and sorrows and our tears. Even somebody who is sinning, he is not abandoned. By sin here is not about moral sinning, etc. But a way of life which is selfish, meanness, selfishness. Even there he is there to slowly, gently remind him through whatever is necessary that, well, this is not a way of life, this is something higher and better. His knowledge overrules our nescience. So very often we say, I don't know. So he says, don't worry, I know. His knowledge. That's why remember and offer is such a wonderful way to live. Because when we remember and offer, we are doing a deed which is in ignorance. This idea that, yes, we must act according to divine will, but is it so easy? You have to get rid of preferences, quieten the mind, get rid of all our opinions, desires, which is a long process. So until then, what do? Well, we have to act according to our highest. But our highest may not be in conformity with the divine will. It yet may be the ignorant best. So what do? Yudhishthira was acting according to his highest. Forgive them, forgive them, forgive them. And that was Yudhishthira's dharma. He must act according to that. But then when you give it to the divine, and that is required for him, his evolution. He can't say they have been very crude with me and I am going to pay back in their terms. Then he would no more be Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira must do what he is meant to do. But then there is Sri Krishna's knowledge overrules his nescience. So he will fulfill his will. He has his ways and means. His knowledge overrules our nescience. So then what is our role? Whatever the appearance, we must bear. First thing is to learn to bear, learn to endure, not break down, not start complaining, grumbling. Mother says all kinds of forces enter when we do that. Learn to bear. And bearing means bearing with faith that things will get better. Or things, whatever is happening, it will eventually lead to good. This is the faith which we have been born with, inculcated in us since childhood. That jo hota hai, ultimately achhe ke liye hota hai. It may not be the bestest best, but in those circumstances it is the best. When mother was asked, does everything happen according to the best? She says that, well, it is the best that could have happened, but there could have been better if you had the right attitude. Now that's a different thing. Yet everything is utilized for our evolutionary purposes. Whatever the appearance, we must bear, whatever our strong ills and present fate. When nothing we can see but drift and bale. Sometimes, very often it happens. You can't see why you are caught up in a situation. Is there an end at all? Drift and bale. Literally, you are on an ocean, cast away. The movie, no? Cast away. You just don't know. Endurance, that shipwreck, Antarctica mission. That will anybody ever come? Will there be any issue out of this situation which seems like a deadlock? When nothing we can see but drift and bale, a mighty guidance leads us still through all. Through all the events and circumstances, He is still leading us. After we have served this great divided world, now comes, so what we should focus upon? Not on this, oh my destiny, oh situation, circumstances, no. You do what you should do, and what we should do is serve this great divided world. That we must do. We shouldn't worry about outer situations, circumstances, leave it to the divine to handle it. But we must do what is the highest and the best within us. After we have served this great divided world, God's bliss and oneness are our inborn right. It has already been promised to us. And it will come. Our task is to do what we are meant to do, to serve the divine in this world for his divine consummation in humanity. And then comes those birthday lines. A date is fixed in the calendar of the unknown for everybody. In God's book, there is an appointment. That may not be necessarily with your birthday. In ashram, that was very interesting context. When people came and first time when they saw the mother, it was the day of their new birth. So they started saying that this is our birthday. Very validly accepted, And they would have the birthday on that day. Number of people I know. But there are some people who met the mother first time or went to Sri Aurobindo's room first time on their birthday. So beautiful. It coincides. But there are people who have these two birthdays. One, the physical birth, and the second is the spiritual birth. But sometimes the two may come together. So, but their day is fixed. Now, here it's not just about seeing the divine for the first time, but ultimately, when we'll have the final realization, this marks meeting the divine or an initiation is a very big step because it marks a great transition in your journey. It is the radical turning point that now somebody else is taking care of your destiny. Ordinarily, destiny operates through all the forces of nature, ignorance, lower nature, and there is a conscious force which is behind, pushing us through everything. There is the play of the gods, and there is the divine aid which reaches out. But then when you are initiated and you start moving on the spiritual path meant for you, then it's a different thing altogether. Divine takes directly in charge. He says to nature, you play your role, but this fellow is mine. And there is a different corridor through which one moves. These are facts of spiritual experience, that the destiny takes another turn. So, a date is fixed in the calendar of the unknown. We don't know, but he knows us. That's why calendar of the unknown. What is calendar of the unknown? Time. So, it's so interesting. Unknown. You cannot know him. That even within the realm of time, even time doesn't know him. But time has emerged from him. So he has ticked. Whatever way time may work, operate, eventually it will lead you to that point. And how it lead? It has its ways. There are people, how they came to Mother and Sri Aurobindo in strangest ways. Somebody, Medanand, he was where in one of those places, I think Caribbean or I've forgotten, maybe one of the islands. So there someone came to stay in one of the guest houses. And while going, he left this book, The Mother, with him. Just like that. You keep it. He got that book, he just gave it to him. And this man's life changed. So he came all the way, then he was named Medhananda. That's how the divine will reach out. A date is fixed in the calendar of the unknown. How he will reach out, we don't know. Most unexpected. Divine has a wonderful sense of humor. That's something very amazing. He will come in the most unexpected ways. You have gone to monasteries, you have gone to ashramas, you have met saints, sages, but nothing is happening here. You may appreciate for a while. Then suddenly, while you are loitering around, he may catch you, come. And then your life changes. So that's his way. A date is fixed in the calendar of the unknown, an anniversary of the birth sublime. So sublime birth is whenever souls which are basically beyond time in that realm, from there they entered into the play of space and time. That means they became limited through form. So that is the birth, original birth. So what happened during original birth? What is the anniversary? That time when we are taking this bungee jumping, there was a consultation with the divine. We felt attracted. Papa, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. We have not experienced this otherness of self, this darkness. What is hidden there? Are there are jewels you don't find here. It looks dark, it is attracting us. So now already things have started. Because here there is only bliss there. So this is, you want to come? Yes, Papa. Come along. I'll come with you. So that is the anniversary of the birth sublime. He plunges and we plunged into it. And then we are gathering jewels over a period of time, over millenniums. What is there? And then when all these jewels which are not found, ultimately it is going to create a much more rich manifestation. So that is the anniversary of the birth sublime. Our soul shall justify its checkered walk. Since then, we are having a checkered walk. Little light, little night, thodi khushi, thoda gum. Like that we are moving, checkered walk. Because we are emerging out of darkness towards light. So it will be checkered. There will be flashes of light. Then again, in the beginning, there will be more and more of darkness with some glimpse of light. Then later on, there is more of light, but still darkness. There will be rise and fall, checkered walk. Our soul shall justify its checkered walk. And what is the justification? It becomes enriched. So the mother said that there is, some people choose the narrow path. Swiftly they come. Some choose the more difficult and long path. And then she says that actually there is a recompense for everything. So those who go through the long path, checkered path, who don't take the small narrow path, they eventually, the realization is also far more complex. Because they have taken that approach. They're not in a hurry to cut the cosmic knot. So our soul shall justify its checkered walk. All will come near. That now is not or far. God is far, I don't know where He is. Is He or is He not? He says, you walk, I'll come, I'm with you. The time will come when I'll reveal myself to you. These calm and distant mights shall act at last. So who are the calm and distant might? We read about the gods. They are waiting. We read about the Chatusharup Dharani, the four aspects of the Divine Mother. But ordinary life you don't even know. You just go do a puja and forget about it. Then time comes when now the great gods say, we will take over. Or rather for us, the goddesses. So Maheshwari starts remolding the mind, the brain to receive wisdom. Then Mahakali begins to inform our heart of a deeper strength, our life of a deathless force. Mahalakshmi begins to work from within, and a deeper love, sweetness, harmony, beauty begins to reshape our life. And Mahasaraswati starts acting in every little detail of her action, every gesture and posture. Says, no. Perfect perfection. Calm and distant minds. Before that, they are working from behind. There's a big wheel of ignorance, and we are just leading life for ego and desires. So this is the journey of man. We'll just read this passage and then stop. One who has shaped this world is ever its Lord. Our errors are His steps upon the way. He works through the fierce vicissitudes of our lives. He works through the hard breath of battle and toil. He works through our sins and sorrows and our tears. His knowledge overrules our nescience. Whatever the appearance, we must bear. Whatever our strong ills and present fate, when nothing we can see but drift and bale, a mighty guidance leads us still through all. After we have served this great divided world, God's bliss and oneness are our inborn right. Even when we are misguiding ourselves, yet there is a mighty guidance which overrules everything. The guidance knows. It automatically corrects us like the GPS. So it automatically knows which way we should go and which way. If necessary, with a sharp blow, it'll put you back. A mighty guidance leads us still through all. After we have served this great divided world, God's bliss and oneness are our inborn right. A date is fixed in the calendar of the unknown, an anniversary of the birth sublime. Our soul shall justify its checkered walk. All will come near, that now is not or far. These calm and distant mights shall act at last.